Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Fabulous. Sorry again. Okay. So I'm now showing you the SEER Browser Edition version 2.0 running in Azure. And the delay is due to the fact that we were using a smaller instance to save money. And when we need it, we raised the instance, and unfortunately I had some issues with Azure. I finally resolved them in the nick of time, but not before this started. My apologies. So this is going to be faster than it would have been. I didn't want to show you the slow version, give you a wrong impression. Okay, and without further ado, SEER Browser Edition version 2.0 now has 3 products within it. So the Browser Edition is kind of a misnomer because within SEER Browser Edition there's SEER SEM, there's SEER IT, and there's essentially a new product called SEER Estimate Central. I'm going to start with SEER SEM. I don't have a show of hands, and I don't need to ask for one, but for who hasn't seen this at all. And I'm going to start with that audience, those of you who haven't seen this at all, and give you a quick rundown of what the Browser Edition can do. We're not going to dwell on this too much because I want you to see what's new. And I'm going to stop and show you what's new along the way. Now, I'm going to choose SEER SEM from among the 3 options, hit Next. And what's the reason for the Browser Edition? This is an internal webinar, and I think it necessary to point out why we've done this. We've done it because our customers, our enterprise customers, may face deployment issues. It's an increasingly difficult thing to deploy desktop software, and so we wanted to anticipate the day a customer tells us they can't deploy desktop software. Another reason we are building this, or we built it, is that we anticipate alternative use cases for our enterprise customers. There may be previous customers who wanted to use the desktop edition because, as we know and love, it provides an interactive view of estimates. However, in the future, there may be more customers or other customers with more users out there, not just a center of excellence or an estimating shop or project shop that's doing all the estimates with a core group of users, but there may be enterprises where the need for estimates is more widespread. Managers at their desks needing to provide a quick estimate or obtain an estimate for a new project, and so on. So deployment not to the tens, but to the hundreds, which would be a challenging situation for desktop software that still does require some training. This provides an alternative which requires less training and more customizability. I've opened this up to show you the first aspect of the Browser Edition, which is that it's customizable, and these templates give a few examples of what can be done with the Browser Edition, complete customizability. As I go through this, again, this is addressed to those of you who don't know this yet. What you're going to see, and I'm going to click Next, is an interface which can be completely made your own. These pages are all customizable, and the entries within them customizable. The labeling, the drop-downs, everything you see is all database driven and can be developed for your own use. It could be as broad as an example like this, or we've done customizations where there are just 2 pages, one page to put in your estimate, your entries, and another page to obtain your estimate. So for this example, Kelly, would you mind muting everyone else while I'm talking?
Sure.
Great. For this example, I'm going to enter a very... Kelly, is everyone muted? Small example?
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
Okay. Okay. Specify a few entries, a size. And from that size, I can go and obtain an estimate. Just a size entry right now. Now the estimate that's being obtained is using the SEER desktop estimating engine. So behind the browser edition, SEERSEM is running. This is a little slower on Azure right now. Normally the estimate is obtained very quickly. There's a little issue with SEERSEM now running on Azure because this is used for development occasionally, so we have to figure that out. But you'll see the estimate in a second. In just one second. One second. There we go. Sorry for that delay. All right, so we have a basic estimate of the project here, and this one happens to be about 1,900 hours and about 8 months. The browser edition has the most common charts and reports that SEERSEM uses. These 4 charts are typically those people most ask for. The reports, basic, a labor report, an activity report, and risk are the reports that typically you get to see the most information from. If you want to get more information out of the browser edition, you can actually select activity, or select a flexible export that was defined previously, and you can actually export from that information to either the clipboard or to your desktop. So if I hit, say, export, now over here you get the exported results. So the browser edition is interactive in the sense that you're not just operating within the browser necessarily. You can also export results to other formats, through the export estimates feature. You can export to a text file and then copy that into Excel or whatnot, Word, or you can actually export that to the clipboard and do the same thing without using the text file. If you want a further analysis, you can actually open the project locally. So if I hit open locally, it's actually creating a SEERSEM project file that can be downloaded and used by SEERSEM locally. So I hit that little project that got downloaded, and you will see the project that I'm estimating opened in the desktop on a local instance. Of course, if you don't have SEERSEM installed locally, this wouldn't occur. But this shows a nice little bit of interoperability between the browser and the desktop version. The browser and the desktop version are fully interoperable. You save a project in the desktop, and then you can open it in the browser. You save a project in the browser, and vice versa. All the entries, estimates, etc., are all copied back and forth. Now, some of you have seen the browser edition in its earlier iteration. Since 1.2, which was the last major release, we've added a bunch, not just SEER-IT, which is new, and also Estimate Central, which is new, but also within the browser edition, we've added a bunch of things in response to feedback, most notably of which are analogy-based sizing analogy-based estimating, and the scatter plot, a lot of smaller things, but I'm not going to note them all now in the interest of brevity. If I go to analogy-based sizing, we actually have the SEER historical database loaded into the browser edition, and that means in this example here, all the ISBSG data, so it's about 6,000 data points that can be drawn from. Now, if you are well, I'll give you an example first. I'm going to select a few projects here, and I'm going to hit recalculate. And now the UFP sizes of those projects have been obtained. In this example, I took a distribution, so 113 is the smallest, 162 is in the middle, and 297 at the top. We have a project size that we've just obtained from these points, and I can apply them now. Hit yes, apply the size to the estimate. Now I just explained it. I'm going to go back for a second. Just explained it in a kind of dry, functional way, but let's put some life to this. If we have a company, a customer that has been collecting their own data, and more customers do collect their own data, this could be theirs. And so that manager sitting at their desk, not wanting to do a full-blown estimate, not needing to, in fact, can actually go into analogy-based sizing, choose projects of their own, obtain a size, and they need to do very little in order to obtain an estimate. We've already obtained a size from this. Let's say we're that manager at that desk. I'm happy I've chosen 3 projects I'm familiar with. They're similar to the one I'm developing. The size has been obtained. The next thing I'm thinking is, yeah, but this project is going to be similar to other projects, not to these projects. Well, that's okay. I hit next. I go to analogy-based estimating now. These are features inside SEM. So if you're using desktop SEM, you could also get this. But now we're at the browser. We're someone who doesn't do estimates a lot. We've obtained a size very quickly. And now we say, well, those 3 projects were great for sizing on the other page. Now we need a few projects that are much more similar to the work I'm doing. So we choose these projects. I want to set both effort and schedule in this example to be comparable projects for this estimate. I had hit recalculate, and I got calibrations for effort and schedule based upon these projects. So again, back to that manager sitting at that desk, not really wanting to do an estimate, wanting to get it done quickly and accurately. You need 2 screens to do an estimate if you've got previous data. You don't need anything else. You need analogy-based sizing, analogy-based estimating, and of course the estimating screen, and you're done. And that's your estimate very quickly. Now, rather than go and obtain an estimate again and risk waiting for SEER SEM, because this is running a little slowly right now, I'm going to leave on the scatter plot page. The scatter plot, again, is a feature that we've also delivered in SEER SEM. This is the browser edition's version of it. This is the ISBSG data, and here you see the power of 6,000 points. This is our estimate right here, and this is all the projects in the database. Had this been a customer with their own data, they would have seen their projects with this estimate, and you get a very good and a complete and instantaneous sense of your estimate, where it lies versus projects that have been worked on before. If I decide that I don't really like the data being shown, I can then say fine-tune. I could say it's business and maybe catalog and inventory management. I hit OK, and I'm going to refine that information down. So now you see our estimate with more comparable points, many fewer points, but still quite a bit, and those that are more comparable to that estimate. Though these are some of the big features that we've implemented since the last release of SEER Browser Edition. I'm going to hit log out here. I'm going to go continue. I'm going to re-enter from the main screen, go to SEER-IT. And SEER-IT, having just been added, doesn't have as many templates, but the complete template gives a sense for everything that's in CRIT. You can see down here we're waiting. Now, CRIT, unlike SEER-SEM, has different parameters for different entries. We start with a screen that looks much like the SEER Browser Edition. However, if I want to start adding elements, you'll see the difference. I didn't show you this in the SEER. This is relatively new as of, I think, 1.2, the WBS pop-up, which is common to the software edition. But if I hit it in CRIT, I'll see all the various elements that can be inserted. I'm not going to do this ad infinitum. I'm just going to show you one or two examples. If I hit purchase hardware, I've inserted a purchase hardware element, and now all the entries for CRIT can be accessed using the purchase hardware element can be accessed, and you can obtain an estimate. If I hit load another entry such as infrastructure services, I now get all the entries associated with the CRIT infrastructure services. So now, the takeaway from this particular area is that the CRIT edition of the browser edition is fully supportive of all that's been done in IT. It's up to date in terms of elements and parameters, etc., with the latest IT, and it's also, as with SEER-SEM, fully interoperable. So you can do a full estimate in the browser edition, and then you can copy that estimate back, or rather save the estimate and then open it up back in the CRIT desktop. I'm not going to step through everything. I'd rather just continue with what I'm showing you, but just point out that in addition to the configurability of the SEER Browser Edition for SEER-SEM, the CRIT Browser Edition is the same in the sense that all the entries, all the pages here, all the entries here, the drop-downs, everything can be customized. So if you're doing much more circumscribed IT estimates, you don't need all the entries or elements even. You can constrain this, or rather customize it to fit the bill, whatever you happen to be doing. Now I'm going to log out again and re-enter and go to the new baby on the block, SEER Estimate Central. Now, we have the SEER database. However, the SEER database, well, not however, it's great. It lets you save projects to a central SQL Server database and open them up, and it's really fulfills a great deal of the promise of an enterprise estimating solution. However, the SEER database, accessed through CRIT and now, SEER-SEM and now the other tools such as CRIT, doesn't provide an overview. And this is what the reason for SEER Estimate Central is. If I hit next, I'm going to get a screen, and this screen is going to show me all the projects that are currently saved into the SEER database. In this case, there are just a few projects. We have some revisions saved for some of them. Now, what we've got here is a way to choose some or all the projects in a SEER database, and then get previously unrealized visibility into the estimates. I hit OK, and the first thing that we see is a screen showing all the estimates that have been made. So I'm that manager, or maybe I'm working in the project office at a customer, and I want to know the lay of the land. I want to know what all the estimates are across all the managers to get a sense for the full import of the stuff in the pipeline. And here I've got that. Here I have estimates for 2012 through 2019. I could have refined in many ways the set of projects that were in the previous screen and gotten much different results if I'd like to. For example, let me go back and select estimates, and I can select by columns. What we have here are basically a workflow management system. These entries here are attributes, custom parameters, also called in the SEER projects, that can be customized. These were chosen to show you an example of essentially a workflow system. So hit OK. I've added this information. I can extend this a little bit more to get the information in better view. Project status is implementation. So let's unclick that and hit implementation. Sorry. I just want to see those, and maybe concept evaluation. So hit OK again. And I get this screen again, which has a few projects missing, and the ones that I want to see the most still highlighted in the chart. So you can see I mouse over, I get more information. The Estimate Central is designed with a less is more philosophy. So if you want to see details or see it a certain way, you'll find there is a button that provides you with that. It does it with as little buttons as possible so that you stay focused throughout. So if I'm wanting to see more detail, I hit the Details button. And let's just say I want to select Project Status as the detail. And now I can see project status on these. We have implementation for these items and concept evaluation. I think this was a single project. But this single project that's in concept evaluation is going to lie earlier. If I select Details By, I want to change details. This button has appeared so I can change details. I want to look at Date Approved. So we have a little detail on Date Approved, which is common. I want to select another detail. For example, projects. Projects are the projects within these estimates. Each estimate is a project file. Within a project file, we have projects. And if I look, I can see Illinois Outreach is going to be a big component of that project. But I've also got multi-vendor ATR in that year, customer-facing web portal. So I have a view of all the estimates here. If I want to switch that maybe to a monthly view, sure, I could do that. If I want to change it from cost to effort, no problem. If I want to get a count of, let's see, yeah, I do want to get a count. This is telling me not just the estimates in that year, but the count of the projects within the estimate. So strangely enough, we're going to have a lot of projects in 2013 around the beginning of the summer, but the cost is going to be very low. Perhaps we're in a transition, so I have to worry about coordination more, but I don't have to worry about blowing my budget, and I have fewer people I can do something more with. So you start to see with an estimate how you can start to plan. You could say, well, less people, more projects, got to maybe focus on communication, but I can take all those people and send them to an ice cream party, or whatever you happen to do with extra people. If I want to look at things from a different perspective, I've been looking at things kind of by date the whole time. I click to by estimate, and I can start examining the projects themselves. Let's say, for example, I hit effort and schedule. I want to look at it that way. I change. I don't have to select the chart. The thing is smart enough so that when I select variables, it says, well, you obviously can't see it that way. I'm going to switch you to a scatter plot. If I'm not happy with the scale here, I want to see it in kind of see these guys in more detail. I hit log scale, and now I can get it in nice detail. If I want to see what's that big thing at the top, it's Watcher. It keeps on bugging me. So Watcher, I want to see this in even more detail. Let's switch to Bubble and put effort months there. And we can see Watcher is really is really giving me the headaches there. So whatever you want to see, you can do. I want to switch variables. I want to go to start and end date. Start and end date. What is that? Oh, it's a Gantt chart. Automatically switches to Gantt chart. So now you can get a sense for all the ways you can slice and dice the data with just a click of a button. Let's do one more. Let's do effort and cost. And as might expected, there's pretty good correlation between effort and cost, but maybe not completely. For example, if I have different staff rates, outsourcing, etc., this might not be so linear. So we get a nice sense of where the estimates cost lies, and maybe where we need to devote some additional attention to cost in the estimates. With our customers who sometimes have not just what have I highlighted, maybe 7 projects, but hundreds of projects, the detail and insight they can get into all their projects with something like this is something they've never before had. And so the settings, the reason for Estimate Central is to give them that, and of course give them whatever they like in addition, such as a cost basis. In a nutshell, that's Estimate Central. I'd like to open this up to questions at this point. Since I've shown everything, maybe you have some questions for me. Kelly, you want to unmute everyone?
Hey, Lee. Lee?
Go ahead, whoever's speaking.
Oh.
You're very buzzy.
Okay. I'm going to go next door to Kelly. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, you sound terrible.
You're definitely not talking from the quiet side of the subway platform like I am. Any other non-noisy questions?
Lee, are there any, so are all SEER SEM and SEER IT parameters available to be shown?
Yes, sir. They are all available to be shown.
There's nothing. Okay, great.
I'm just going through it as you can see to prove to you that you could see everything. Next question.
Can you hear me, Lee?
I can, very well.
Lee, is there a possibility that this will go the other way, back into the core model, particularly Estimate Central?
These entries, will they go into the
No. You know the third element you showed, we had STEM, IT, then the Estimating Central with all of the capability.
Oh, will that go into the desktop?
Yeah.
That is an interesting question, which I cannot answer. At this point, there are no plans to do so.
It looks a phenomenal piece of equipment for its intent, and I just think it would be great in the base model as well as this version of the model.
Well, I think that's a reasonable suggestion, and it has been thought about, if not planned. And I think the reason for not doing it, if I may, is that this is an enterprise feature, and people often associate enterprise features with browser access. You're not going to be using the SEER database unless you've got infrastructure in place to handle things like this.
Yeah.
So I think customers may be more readily amenable to it. I also wanted to add, with respect to your question, I wanted to tangentially add that we also now have a basic workflow system that you can bolt onto the SEER database, which uses email notifications, so that whenever you save an estimate on the desktop, whatever, you can actually specify who receives notice, things like that. And Cost IQ is also being refashioned into a knowledge management tool that will work with the SEER database. We already are halfway there. So the SEER Enterprise database is headed towards much greater functionality.
Okay.
Also,
right.
I might mention that we are going to look into offering Estimate Central as a service, meaning it would be available via web app, but would conceivably connect to a customer's local database or their own SQL Server database. There's some logistics associated with that, but we think that that would have a lot of appeal.
Yeah, it just looks brilliant. It's really good.
Hi, this is Chris Hutchings. Can you hear me without scratchiness?
Yes, I can hear you without scratchiness. Itchy scratchy.
Wonderful. Okay, so I had two questions. Brian dealt with the other one, but my other question is, you had a simplified Chinese version of the SEER for software. So a two-part question: can we expect the same for IT? And secondly, how easy is it to add additional languages? For instance, Portuguese, which would be greatly useful.
As a speaker of Chinese, it is actually traditional Chinese and not simplified, but let's not split hairs there. It is very simple to add additional parameters, entries. In this example, I haven't shown you, we don't have it in here, but we also have a Russian translation, and we have, I think, a Polish translation maybe in process. The point is that you can customize this, and the character set as well, as you've seen, can be customized. That's the purpose of showing you the Chinese one.
Yeah. Okay. So if I wanted to simplify Chinese as well, it would be very easily done.
Yes, you could add simplified Chinese if you'd like. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Lee. And it looks wonderful, by the way. Well done.
Thank you. There's been a lot of it's been a lot of input. A lot of the features that you've seen since 1.2 were the result of a bunch of people asking for them. This is a lousy screen to be showing you. Sorry. Any more questions?
I thought I was on mute.
We took care of you. Okay. Well, if there are no more questions, yeah.
Sure. I sent you an email. Just call me when you're done.
Sure.
I guess the other question is, when will it be available for rollout internally so that we can have it on our machines, or will that happen?
It is available for rollout internally. There are two instances. The internal instance, due to domain issues, is not currently happy, but the external instance is very happy, and that's what we're using it on Azure. If you want to play with this, you're completely welcome to. I can send you a link and a login, and you can play with it to your heart's desire.
Yes, if you would, please, that'd be good. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and I would recommend, if you haven't, to identify some people additionally and encourage them to get in there and bang on it and provide feedback.
Don't bang
internal
too hard.
folks. Yeah.
I also let me see if it's available here. No, I don't have it up here right now. Before I got on, showed you everything. You had to wait, unfortunately. And actually, that's the silver lining to that is that this is running on Azure. And what I had done before I was on was I down selected the instance to save us money. Since employee-owned company, we're very cost conscious. However,
so what did it cost you to run this?
Well, this is the point. So it was on a lower step before, and I raised it for the demo. I had issues logging in. That was the delay. But the cost per month for this is right now. What you're looking at is no higher than about $300 per month. However, because this is Azure or any cloud service for that matter, we can implement all sorts of things to reduce that cost a lot more. When we're not using it, for example, and I don't really care about performance, I put it on an instance that runs at $40 a month. So the cost.
So what does that mean? If it's $300 a month, you divide it by 30 days and 24 hours, and we spend an hour?
That's correct. You spend an hour. The unit of measurement is an hour.
So this costs us, what, $10, $5?
Yeah, while we've been sitting here, the clock has been running. That's right.
I understand, but it's not much, right?
Well, it isn't much, depending upon your perspective, right? I mean, if you put a server in place, that'll cost you probably twice the yearly cost of this, but then you have to talk about the labor costs and everything. So yeah, if you play it right, the cloud instance can be cheap, but you got to be very careful about management.
It would probably be really useful for us to put together a couple of example scenarios that we could speak to and show to a prospect or customer to say, here's some representative types of costs were you to deploy in this fashion with, 5 users, 10 users, 100 users, 500 users, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I just did an arithmetic. It cost us 41 cents for an hour.
That is pretty cheap. By the way, the one thing I want to show you, which we're proud of, because we had it in response to a customer asking for it in a matter of a week, was they said, well, I don't really care about the estimate. I care about the projects within them. I want to see those. So you can not only view estimates, you can also view it at the project level. Just the latest feature we've added. The beauty of this, and I didn't mention this either really, is that this is under continuous release. So if a customer wants something, as in the case of this thing that was added, we added it in a week. We just update the browser instance. If a customer licenses this, we could update them very quickly because it's not desktop deployed.
Did everybody see what you did? I missed part of the demo. I was on another call. Did everybody see you just went and got a whole portfolio and rolled it up?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see if they saw.
I saw it.
Okay.
I saw it.
We got a whole portfolio and rolled it up, and then someone else said, well, I care about revisions. I think that person might be on the call. And we said, okay, so let's go look at revisions. And this is, I think, a beautiful feature because you can look at things simultaneously. For the trading support system, for example, I hit OK, and I could see the variations in the trading support system. Well, in this case, I really didn't do very much with it, so there's not many variations. But I can look at estimate variation over time using this.
And the thing that Qualcomm did in Splunk, I think you can do everything in Estimate Central, true?
Yes, except detect intruders into the network, which is what Splunk is really for. Yeah, they repurposed Splunk, but I'm sure they wish they could have had this. The sheriff?
She said it's the cops.
By the way, I don't know if you saw what I just did. I just clicked the project, and I can actually view the project. So I click in Estimate Central, and I'm like, that's an interesting project. Let's look at it.
So this is functionality you can't do in SEM Desktop very easily.
No.
And are we selling this as part of the browser, or is this being sold as a separate item?
Well,
has not been determined yet. Not defined.
So this is a very important reason for this call, which is that staff need to be aware that we have this. Forget about the browser edition, just Estimate Central, and we need to shake the tree, and then we'll have pricing for that. That's going a little slowly, so I decided not to wait for it. But
well, for 41 cents, I guess we can't complain too much.
There we go.
Did we do a PO for that 41 cents?
Anyway, there we go. There's the whole project that just got opened in response to that little interrogation by clicking on it. Honestly, I didn't even know I could do that. I just discovered it. Any other comments, questions, suggestions?
Looks awesome to me, Lee.
Thanks, and I hope we've done everyone well by having you look at it today. I want to get people excited about it. Good. All right. Well, Brian, I'll go put out other fires.
Excellent.
All right, Kelly, I think we're done. I think we had our fill.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much,
Lou. Out to you guys.
Bye all. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.